Well, my name is Mike Daly. I've grown up pretty much in a Christian home my whole life. I always knew about God. It was more of just a knowledge-based thing that I'd known of God, and I knew like the basic aspects, and I live a Christian life and that kind of thing. But it really wasn't a personal thing to me. I remember one time it was really an odd thing. It was just, normal days, and I was watching a show called Fear Factor. And on the show, we had different competitors, and they do different challenges. You'd always do something really adventurous, and I always loved the adventurous things. It could be like from a obstacle course kind of thing, or even eat bugs or have to wear bugs and that kind of thing. It was an odd thing, but they always had the grand finale where they got the final winners in, and it was two different competitors. And in the finale, they get on a bike, and they had to ride across a balance beam between two buildings. And whoever could do it fastest on this bike over this really tall building looking down on a big drop, whoever made it the fastest across, or if they just made it across, the other one didn't, would win. The first guy goes, and he's kind of nervous. He's trying to go slow just to make sure he keeps that straight path. But as he's concentrating so much on the path, he just can't keep the momentum up, and he just slowly falls off. So I'm still watching, just watching the show normally, and they show a clip of the other guy, and he's getting ready for the race, or for the trip across. And I don't know what he's doing. I thought he was mumbling to himself. Couldn't really tell what he was doing. He obviously wasn't English. Like, you could tell he was just like, what is this? I don't know. Like, so the host's like, this guy over here is speaking in tongues. I was like freaked out by it. Like, what is that? Because I've always heard of tongues, but I really didn't experience it and see it before. So it was kind of freaked me out. And to be honest, it scared me. So I was like, no, I don't want this guy to win. That's just weird. That just freaks me out. I don't want this guy to win. So he's, he gets done, he gets on it, and he seems beaming with confidence, like, what, and he gets on that, and he goes full speed straight across that beam, doesn't even falter one bit, and wins the whole thing. I remember just being freaked out, like literally scared, because I knew of God, and I've always heard about the Holy Spirit and speaking in tongues, but never really had any kind of really interaction with it. So I was almost shivering, like afraid of this. Like, I still believe like God's good, but he doesn't do freaky stuff. Knowing about God and knowing all these details about him, and knowing that he was good and that kind of thing, really is what kind of set it up to be kind of an odd thing that I would really start my first real experience with the person of the Holy Spirit by watching a secular television show. Just because you know God, or you know of God, doesn't mean you really know him. You don't have a personal relationship with him. It was a decision I had to make. And unfortunately, I didn't make the decision until many years later. And really what started happening after that was great. I started getting involved with other people, going to different events, that kind of thing. And soon after that, the people had told me, hey, you got to receive the Holy Spirit. And I did, because I already known about it, and I said, okay, I'm accepting this. It's not this big thing, but I knew that I had to receive him as well, because that was the guidance I needed in my life. But it wasn't a scary experience. Unlike that time when I'd watched the show Fear Factor, I was so afraid of it because I didn't know anything about it. I thought the Holy Spirit was only about speaking in tongues and giving you a prayer language. But the truth of the matter was, the Holy Spirit gives you the power to live that Christian life, to live a life that's devoted to Jesus. And when I rededicated my life to the Lord, I really started to tap into the power of the Holy Spirit. And one of the things he first led me to do was to make sure I was water baptized, because I hadn't been water baptized before, which I actually did here at Lake Arthur, which was an awesome experience. And I knew when going under that, I was going to live that life really dedicated to the Lord. And every day he leads me just a little more on really what it means to live for God and what it means to pursue his purpose in my life. And I got to say, when you pursue the purpose of God in your life, and you know that you have the power to do it through the baptism of the Holy Spirit and through the power of the Spirit living and dwelling within you, that life can't get any better. You know, even though you have bad days and that everything doesn't really work out to your plan, you know that God is leading you and that you're going to have a life that's going to be full and it's going to be limitless. And so you can go anything, you can achieve the dreams, not just your own dreams, but the dreams that God has put inside you and given you the power through the Holy Spirit to live out. Jesus is Baptizer.